Hey everybody, so we'll go through a brief tutorial on how to use Asana. Try to keep it basic but in depth. Starting from the login screen and go into it. One of the biggest things with this is just trying to keep it all straight, especially since we're doing things over such a long period of time. It's easy to forget different items, and especially as they have different lead tasks. So when you sign into Asana, it takes you into the Your Tasks view. So these are all new tasks. I'll show you a trick with these afterwards, but really the biggest thing is once you find each of these different projects, you can create new ones here if you want. For the purposes of this, you probably don't need to at all. A lot of it will exist underneath your different tabs here. You can see more projects. You can see all the different people that are up here. So this is kind of where you navigate between the different projects, and then the tasks will exist in here. So the biggest thing with Asana and the two or three main rules is that every task should be an action. So you can see this one. This is one of this is kind of a good example of what it should be. So it's design, sponsor, sign. So you know exactly what it should be. It has a due date of when you should do it. I've set this one up to have plenty of lead time to be able to have it get to printers. And then it's assigned to a person. So the due dates are found up here. You can also change them down here, and then who it's assigned to. So this, and we'll show that a bit later, is where it pops into my tasks, which pop under my initials here. I'll try and keep the subtasks underneath it. You can add more subtasks by going in and clicking on this button here. Also, once you've got one in, you can just press enter and be able to get them through there. Try to have a good list of all the things that I'm working on. Any documents, you can just drag a document in here. You can also upload documents from your computer, Dropbox. Be cautious of uploading from Google Drive, because if it isn't a shared, if it doesn't have share permissions, then no one else will be able to actually access it. The best ones are when you actually just put the link, shareable link, in the comments below. You can enter in things underneath the description here, just this is free typing, and then any comments. Now, one of the biggest things is trying not to spam people too much. So you can see the people that are followers on this one are myself and Donnie, which what that means is that anything that I type here, any actions that I take, Donnie's gonna get a notification that we've done that. I can remove Donnie by clicking the X, and then no one else will be notified on any things that are happening. No one's going to have any issues with that. But I can say at Derek, and Derek's will pop up, and then type a message, and he will get a notification that I've tagged him here. So this is really good for trying to keep conversations really specific to who is related to that task. So we've got some of the different tasks that are in here and the things that are going on. So you can see this is a good example. Connect with Ginger to get Biff's WestJet flight donation. So we just had that conversation of, I messaged at Derek, he got it, and the information that comes from that. So this is how you can kind of control the conversations per task. And then heading over to this side, there's a couple of pieces that can be helpful. This one, it's not a super complicated project, so you don't need a lot of detail, but you can go with working on, and then if you put a colon, it instantly turns it into a heading. So I can move any of my tasks under working on, and then to start working on, I can create a second one there, and I can move those. I can move tasks into those, but it just helps me to keep my life a little bit more organized. And then to delete things in Asana, tab and delete is what actually deletes a line, and you can undo those and see them. So I use this. I try to write in some documentation and some thank you notes. Again, you can see the communication. The nice thing with Asana is it's supposed to make your life easier. So if there's ever a question about what the task is, you know exactly what it is, given it's got a good description, but it also has all of the communication, the dates behind it, all of the pieces. You can see that Derek asked for some requests to have things that are written up and then what we're going to be using. So I started putting that together. And then all I would do at the bottom here is just let them know, have a write-up done. and in the description. Or I could just copy and paste it in here. Depending on how you've got your email notifications set up, and I'll talk about those a little bit in a bit, you'll get an email. If you're using Asana effectively and if it's used a part of your workday life, I don't have email notifications, but I get the inbox notifications and I'm checking my Asana pretty much daily. So that's the basics of setting these up. Just again, the three big pieces are make sure that it's got a full action. So this is a good one here is connect with home hardware, so I know exactly what I'm doing. I can have the contact information of that person, whatever communication comes back, I can post it in here. The idea behind it is you want to keep it so descriptive that if you get hit by a bus, then somebody else knows where to pick off. And that means that you can come back to this at any point in time and not have been intimately involved and still understand where it all is. Now going up to, so there's the team conversations. These ones, if I go and again, pay attention to the notified thing, but I can start a new conversation here. And essentially this is a message all that everyone's going to get. Any replies are going to be logged underneath it. You can see some from our previous ones, and it just helps keep that conversation to there. Don't use conversations unless it's relevant to everybody. That's where it comes in to be able to have those individual messages back and forth within each task, and then only the people that are getting notified are going to be relevant or need to know about it. The next piece is up here. So you can see I've clicked on DV. So this is all of my tasks that are assigned. Typically how I work my workflow, and I'll post a link to a video that I've created of how I run my workflow for my day-to-day, but I'll go in and choose, okay, I want to get this done today. Maybe I'll do this week. This one, that's not a huge rush, so I'll put it in my later column. Later, confirm with signage, deadline to order. I should probably get that done pretty quick. So you can see how quickly I can also drag them into the different areas. But now one of the nice things is that it hides anything that I'm not working on. And it just allows me to do it. This is only if you're really working out of Asana pretty regularly. The next big thing is to make sure that you've got a pretty good setup as far as how your email notifications are working. So here you can see everybody that's in here, just trying to track down where I keep all of the email notifications, my profile settings. So you can see your basic profile. This doesn't really matter. This is the big one. So this is your email. So this is where you'll get notifications for things that are happening. Now you can see I'm involved in a bunch of different workforces. So I've got Motion Ball, some of the things I'm working on personally, TEDx. This is where I'm operating, and I'll send you that video of how I'm operating that section. So a bunch of different projects, but the biggest ones are if you're not regularly using Asana, you should be keeping the task reminders all checked, but you want to turn off your weekly dashboard. This would be something that'll give you an update on everybody. And then all activity, again, is going to give you a pretty good span as far as what's happening. The biggest one is task reminders. All activity can benefit you as getting, seeing what's happening on anything that you're tagged in. Otherwise, your app will give you a notification, and that'll make it pretty easy. These ones aren't very important at all. There's a lot of things you can do, but there's very few things that you need to do with Asana. There's all these different integrations. I use Toggle for time tracking, but again, not super relevant to this project. But that's the basics of how I operate Asana and just try to keep it all organized. The inbox, this one you can come in and see anything that I've been tagged in. I can see what's happened, what conversations are there, and keep up to date with it. This is a good place to check in because all your notifications will be housed there. And then I can go in and just archive all the ones because I'm up to date with them and feeling good. So that is essentially all of the pieces that are super relevant. Again, my tasks is where I work out of, and I'll share a link to that video. But once you get into your task, go in, set up all the things that you need to do, and then start looking at what are the secondary deadlines for things. So I've got my order sponsors and sport signs. What are the things that need to go into that? I need to confirm, I need to design, I need all of those pieces. I can even move my design sport signs into a subtask of ordering sport signs. So you want to keep it simple and keep it pretty basic, and then keep your notes underneath each of those. Over here, you can add notes to subtasks. They're pretty easily missed, so try to keep them to a minimum there. But that's a basic of how I operate it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.